Welcome to Hardheaded Podcast. We're excited that you've joined us as we have a conversation. We found that a good conversation allows us to share what's on our mind, whether current events, what's grinding our gears, or our pet peeves.
It also allows us to share our top 3, a list of our favorite things on any given subject, most of which are highly opinionated. In closing, we share a good word. Solid friendships are encouraging. Even if we joke and give each other a hard time, our ultimate responsibility is to uplift each other.
Our goal is that you'll feel like you're part of the conversation, like you were in the studio with us, and that you feel encouraged after tuning in to our podcast. It's time to join the conversation.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another fun and exciting episode. With me today, as always, is Matt Amos and Mr. Chet Sears. And today we're going to talk about what's on Matt's mind. And he got us prepared at the end of last week's episode. So I'm pretty excited.
Is that this one that you're talking about?
Yeah, he's bringing the thunder. So look out. Put your headgear on. He's taking the gloves off.
I sure hope he hasn't oversold this.
Right. And then I'm hosting, and Chet is going to follow it up with a good word. And we're eating nuts and Hostess donuts today. So here we go. Matt, what's on your mind?
What's our top 3 today, just so I can...
Oh, sorry. I did leave that out. Top 3 foods that you cannot stand.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
You guys could probably already.
I can already say Chet's top 3.
Mushrooms, olives, and something else.
Pretty much.
Just guessing.
All right. What's on your mind?
Control.
Are you talking about the U.S. government?
Yes.
Oh, I thought you were talking about that song. Isn't there a song called Control?
I don't know, but there's one that says relax, don't do it. Something, your body into it. I don't remember.
When you want to go to it? I don't know.
But
when
anyway.
you want to go.
So we've kind of been through the phases of riots. We've been through...
It's a Janet Jackson song. I'm not going to play it for you, but yeah.
Copyright. We'd need to, whatever, buy rights. But we've been through the riot phase that led into the coronavirus phase that has now led us into what?
The control phase.
It's all been a control phase.
Inflation. Okay. I'll take inflation for 200, Alex. Bad economy.
Bad economy, inflation. We're going to, even with our...
If you voted for Donald Trump, you're a terrorist.
Yes. And...
For 1,000, Alex.
True. But there's one other one in there too that we're just skipping over. It's not essential.
We've given you 3 answers, man. Come on.
It's not essential, but that's one of them, right? But we're gonna pay off student loans.
Oh.
So if
not necessarily pay them off, just pay
portions,
10 to 20,000.
I didn't even get a piece of that. We still have school loans. What the heck?
Did you not apply for it?
I don't think so.
Did you have to apply for it?
I don't know.
I was under the assumption that you didn't have to apply. I guess if it's anything like PPP loans, that you would have to apply.
This is a lot different than PPP loans.
All I know is
this is illegal. He doesn't have the authority to do it. But
maybe that's why, because it's going to get challenged.
I'm not down with PPP.
I would assume.
Or OPP.
So I've been...
Yeah, you know me.
Help us out, Matt. Come on. Get this guy to be quiet.
Yeah, shut up.
Control him.
As you look like you're snorting coke with your white powder all over your lips.
He's out of control.
You're like that.
You got any more of them?
You're like that Miami Vice guy. What is that? Oh yeah, that's coke. But, and I know we've talked about this a little bit off the podcast or offline, however you want to say it, about how Russell Brand is kind of almost
controversial.
No,
I don't. He's not controversial. He's common sense.
Now. And he will tell you he hasn't always been.
And he says he's always learning.
Mm-hmm.
And he says he's always correcting, things that he's done in the past, and he gets new information and makes new decisions based on new information.
I would say people that don't like what he's saying would say he's very controversial.
There'll probably be some people that say that, but
I mean, not me,
but I've been listening to him a little bit and seeing what he has to say, and it's kind of funny to see somebody that to me seems like he's right in the middle. Like he's trashing the left, which he says that he identifies more with the left, or he used to, than he did the right. But he'll attack the right just as much, and he's like, this is where this is wrong, this is where this is wrong, and he's pretty much.
So he's like the modern era Walter Cronkite. Is that what you're trying to say, Matt?
No, I'm saying like he's a good news source because he uses factual sources to get his news, and he works hard to get that.
And he doesn't appear to have bias, and if he does, he admits it.
He admits that he has bias, and he says, I'm probably partially biased to this, and this is why. But he states the facts and states the truth. And the one thing that he kind of pointed out in one of his episodes, and I can't remember which one it was, but he was talking about control. And so I just started thinking back because he was talking about the coronavirus just pretty much specifically, and how that was just a method for the government to gain more control. And I look back and it's like, well, how does the government get more control? So if you look at the riots before coronavirus, because the government always needs some sort of controversy. And that the riots were one of them. They were kind of fanning the flame, like they weren't doing anything about them. They were just
George Floyd stuff.
Yeah, or Black Lives Matter, or any of that stuff.
That's George Floyd. Yeah,
where they were burning buildings or whatever, and they weren't really doing anything about it. And so now you've got this side just kind of running wild, and then you've got the conservative side mostly saying, well, we need laws, to prevent that, or we need to stop doing that, or whatever. So you've got one side pitted against another, and this side's willing to give up some freedoms in order for this side to get punished, because now it's like, I don't like this person, I don't like this group, they need to be punished. And so I'm going to agree to more regulation, I'm going to agree to more control in order to punish this side. Those started to die down all of a sudden. Or they said it's getting too crazy, but we still need to salvage this opportunity. So coronavirus was a real thing. The coronavirus is real. But as we've learned, lockdowns didn't matter. Face masks didn't matter. Vaccines don't matter. But what they've done during that whole period of coronavirus is, if you're not going to wear a mask, you hate your fellow man. Oh, now if you
don't get a vaccine,
you want
your grandma to die,
then you hate this person. So now you've got the left mostly who says, I'm going to get vaccinated, and if you don't get this for the betterment of the humankind, then you hate everybody. And I don't like you, and I'm not going to put up with you, and I'm not going to deal with you. I'm not going to go to your house. I don't want to be around you, whatever. So they've pitted one group against the other. And they've called for, we need more regulation to get these people. We've got to mandate masks. We've got to mandate vaccinations. We've got to do this. And then they're willing to give up more rights so that we conform to whatever they're saying. Ultimately doing what in both those situations, from the riots to the coronavirus, giving the government more control. Move over to the economy. Gun control, and all of a sudden we've got some school shootings now that the coronavirus is over. The school shootings almost on a T, boom, right back. So coronavirus is winding down. We're going to have a school shooting. Well, now we need gun control. So now you got a bunch of people calling for gun control. Another portion of the society saying, no, we don't need more gun laws because they don't work. Pitting one side against the other, saying, hey, I don't like these people. We need to control these guns. I'm willing to give up more of my rights so that we can control this group of people that owns firearms. Pitting one group against the other. If you continue to look, that's how politics have run for the last 10 years. And now even more so since what are we up to now? The virus is over. Now we're going to now they're looking at school loans and saying, okay, we're gonna partially pay these off. So now you've got a portion of the society, completely different sector of society, not necessarily just left versus right, because there's plenty of conservatives that have school loans that need to be paid off. And nobody wants to talk about the real issue with that, which is predatory lending and schools being overpriced. And interest rates being too high. Why don't we look at that instead of trying to pay people off?
Yeah, well, they're going after. They're trying to get votes, right? I mean, that's exactly what they're trying to do. But it's not a lending problem. I know you don't want to get into the student loan deal, but specifically, but that's not a lending problem. It's just that people should pay the debts that they get.
I agree that people should pay the debts that they get.
You have to pay it off.
You signed up for it. You were stupid to sign up for a loan at 8% for whatever, and there's really no way out. That's dumb.
No, it's not even that there's no way out. There are people that have a way out. You just got to pay it off.
And I agree, but that's a separate discussion, because there are some points I disagree with you on that. I believe that the interest rates they need to be low. I mean, whatever.
No, not if you're not. Heck, I was talking to your dad about this. I jokingly said, asked him if he got any thank you cards from all the student loans that he paid off with his tax dollars. And he's like, no, not a single one yet. They didn't give student loans to people before when he was in college because he didn't have any collateral.
Well, no collateral credit.
But student loans allow you to sign up for that.
Right.
But then
you get a federally backed loan, and
if that needs to change.
Institutions raise their prices because the federal government is backing it. Anyway, that's off topic.
But you don't come and bail somebody out because they signed on the dotted
line. No,
line.
I don't think you should bail anybody out at all. But so you move forward, and then you've got that controversy, which is just between me and you. We have that little disagreement, right? But it's not like I hate Chet and I don't ever want to see him again. I mean, but I have that daily that I don't want to see you. But so, and now the FBI raided Trump under the some espionage act or whatever. But ultimately, it's to try to prevent him from running in 2024. But it's also a divisatory, if that's even a word, tactic
I'll allow it,
to pit one side against another, because now you have your extremist, as we've been called from the president itself. And I'm not necessarily a MAGA person, right? But a lot of the values that stands for, I align with for sure. But that doesn't make me Trump's the be all end all.
No, he's not. He's far from it.
So, but now they've pitted the side that supported Trump, that likes Trump, that says, that's got Trump 2024 on all their stuff and, bring back Trump, all that stuff. Now you're pitting them against everybody else. And it's like, oh, well, now they're labeling those people as extremists, as domestic terrorists. And I'm willing to give up some rights because these people are scary and we need to control them. The same way the unvaxxed or the non-maskers were scary and we needed to control them. The same way the riots, those people that were rioting in the streets were scary and we needed to control them. So we're willing to give up our rights to control other people because it's all about our own personal security at that point. And that's what we're worried about. It's like, I want to feel safe. It's all about me, when we need to think about everybody else. And I've said it on the podcast before, and we called it coffee and a donut, but we are seriously going to lose this whole thing if we do not come together to bring down the powers that be as they currently stand. And the only way that happens is if we completely disregard mainstream media, we completely disregard the television, because all they're doing on TV is playing political theater. It's all an act. It's all a show to drive views, to drive perceptions, to put one side against another. Whereas if I'm on the street and I'm talking to somebody that's from the more liberal side of things, we can have a great discussion. We can get along and be like, hey man, I don't agree with you on that. Have a good day. I'll see you tomorrow, whatever the case may be. And we get along just fine. But in that political arena, it's like this side and this side hate each other. They're always at war. We're fighting this. And the fight's really not there. It's a made up fight, because a lot of the things that are, I would say hot button issues, we can come to an agreement on. and I look at, for myself, and take abortion as an example. So, we voted on that here in Kansas, and the no's won, and
the no's and the
that it's constitutional.
No to abortion, the no to a constitutional amendment that will allow the state Congress to vote on whether or not we should allow abortions. That was the no.
Yeah. Thank you for clarifying, because there's non-Kansans that don't understand that. So
there's Kansas that didn't understand that too.
They probably voted
just
wrong.
to clarify.
But and I look at that and I'm like, okay, we could look at that as a defeat. I really don't look at that as a loss for us, really, because ultimately, what should we be doing? Because if the government lately has been any example, we should not look to the government to be our ethical leaders, right?
Absolutely.
So
I go back years.
I look more at that vote as a challenge to the church to be more involved, to get involved in those young women's lives, to help them make the right decisions. And it requires people getting off of a pew, not just reading their Bible and going to church on Sunday and saying, "Oh, I believe and everything's good." Get involved and help these young women to make the right decisions. Before
don't act like that doesn't happen, though. And that was one of the biggest issues that happened during the vote. Is there were churchgoers that assumed that the church doesn't do anything with crisis pregnancy centers or adoption or whatever else. But there is no other people group in this state that does more to adopt kids or to provide health care to women who are pregnant and who have had babies in tough situations. Don't pick up their line and act like Christians don't do that. There's no other group that does it more.
And I'm saying I look at that as a challenge to do even more. Right? I'm not saying that they don't do anything. You got a little defensive there.
I did, because you're sounding like you're towing the line of the liberal Christian that voted to say that women should be getting abortions.
No, absolutely not.
That's what they were saying. Well, the church doesn't do enough.
And I don't think some of them do. I really don't.
So let's let women kill their babies.
I'm saying the church needs to do more so that we can prevent that, get involved more.
I completely agree that the church needs to do more, but there's problem with the American church in general.
Well, and that's kind of where I'm
that's
getting.
the biggest problem.
But I'm looking at that through a lens of society as a whole. Right. Because we're going to rely on government to make these mandates to say we can or can't do things. Whereas we need to talk to each other and govern that more locally. Whether that's the church who needs to be an influencer inside that community.
Though, you can say that they need to do more, but to say that the church loving people more, providing more, there's not people lined up outside of these crisis pregnancy centers where we need to open more of them. I hear what you're saying, but it's not if we open 15 more of those and we have 1,700 more kids adopted this year.
You cherry picked. You're cherry picking one bit of information
that you said,
but you're cherry picking it, right? Because it's overall the discussion about letting the government dictate, and we're following that.
I'm just trying to say the church doing more is mutually exclusive from the government doing what they're doing.
I would say
if the church does more, doesn't mean the government's going to stop.
If we're talking about people, the people need to do more. Period. Take it out of the church.
But that's
like people on the left and the right both need to do more away from their stupid government that's trying to control them.
Stop trying to tell the government, hey, we need this, we need that,
right,
and giving that power to the government. Take that power back and do it yourself.
People in the church, people out of the church, both need to come together.
Exactly. The abortion thing was
right.
Well, I don't know how to the correct word for it, but that was kind of an example, I guess.
Well, you cherry picked the abortion example, which is,
well, I put it out there because it's easy. It's a yes, no type of thing. And it's, hey, we can do more.
I'll tell you right now, without the liberal churchgoer voting the way they did, that bill would have passed. So I'd say the church needed to do less in that case. They need to quit these crazy liberal Christians shouldn't have voted in that.
But then that comes back to last week's good word, which was watch out, because they're reading it they're reading their own version or their own truth that they want to bring out in the word. That's what they're saying. So not the word as it's read in black and white. Where
I'm with you.
So, so that's what I'm saying is get back to, I guess, a more localized form of government, the way it should be. Small government, not big government dictating everything.
That's not going to happen.
Here we are. Here we are again,
but that's your cop out because
it's not a cop out.
And but you say it every time, and so it's.
I'm right all the time.
And I'm not saying that that's wrong, but I'm saying that it's worth a shot, right? Because here's the solution: stop attacking each other and trying to say, "Hey, government, stop these people," or "Hey, government, those people need less rights. I need more rights." And let's look at it from, we all deserve the same rights. So stop trying to give the government all that control because you're giving it up. And what you give up today, because you think it benefits you and screws that group, is going to come back tomorrow and screw you. And that group's going to get.
I'm going to say what you're saying in a more inflammatory way. Donald Trump is not going to make it better.
No.
I agree.
Do not support Donald Trump because you think he is going to fix the problem that Matt is talking about. Because he is not.
No. And
no individual will.
Yeah. And no individual politician will do it. It's going to take us as individuals communicating with each other, being more informed, and actually having discussions instead of just saying, "Oh, well, I elected that guy to make those decisions. He knows what's best for me because I voted for him and I saw his campaign and he's got a good smile and, he did this or he did that, So it comes back down to taking responsibility
for your life,
accountability,
including your student loans,
all of it. And I 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
I don't think we should be paying those off for people. I mean, for that matter, my tools, I want money back for my tools. For all my construction tools that I had to buy when I didn't have the money.
Yeah.
So I get it.
I just think there's a couple of things that I saw. We talked about the abortion deal, but even the group of people that are like, where's the compassion for all the, we should be celebrating with the people that are getting, $20,000 towards their student loans. I look at that in a completely different way. You're telling me, you're telling somebody that is high school or not even high school educated, they have a job and they pay taxes. You're telling them that if their tax dollars do not go to pay for these student loans, if you're like, I disagree with this, I'm going to stop paying my taxes. Well, somebody will show up to their house with a gun
with their 87,000 new IRS agents
and say, you're going to go to jail
if you don't pay.
And if you refuse, then you're dead. Like, so there's no compassion in forcing people to pay taxes and then having their tax dollars go to buy votes. Like, that is the opposite of compassion. That is, and to hear a lot of people on the religious left, whatever you want to call that group that's out there now, like condemn people for being upset about this and like, oh, you don't have compassion. Well, what's compassionate about? I'm going to kill you if you don't do this. Like that's not compassion.
No.
And I know that's an extreme view, but you don't do what the government tells you to do. You either go to jail or you die.
Or both.
We could talk about
go to jail and die. You suicide yourself.
I mean, we could talk about, some instances where some government agencies that have 3 letters showed up because there was a minor infraction of a firearms deal or a question that we needed to ask about the parts you've been ordering and getting delivered to your compound. And next thing you know, women and children are dead.
Well, and
that's how the government works.
Well, and another
in
one
some
of those
cases, not all the cases.
Not all cases.
By the way, this is Troy talking right now.
Troy Edwards.
There you go. Whoever that is. So, and I agree, and I saw that too, where it came out that the FBI was actually suppressing the Hunter Biden laptop deal. So here you've got a non-elected agency or non-elected person influencing an election, which is illegal.
You wanna take bets on what happens to that guy?
Who, Hunter Biden?
No, the FBI agent that suppressed the story.
Oh,
Nothing.
Nothing.
He's probably going to run for president 2024.
Not only that, did you know that the FBI went to Zuckerberg at Facebook and said, "Hey, don't let this Hunter Biden story run on Facebook."
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
No. There's actual suppression of the FBI guy in charge that said, FBI agents, you can't do anything. Like, there was that. That's what that guy did. And then some other powers that be went to the social media companies and said, you can't let this story run on social media. And they were like, okay, we won't let it.
Yeah, and it came out that they've actually worked together on a lot more stuff, like suppress this story, don't suppress that story, do this, do that. So they're influencing society. They're influencing elections.
Well, and then Zuckerberg, they let it run, but they put didn't they put things on? Because
After the election.
Then they could put things on like this could be fake news or whatever.
They throttled it.
Yeah.
He admitted that they throttled the story. Like, you could share a picture of your kids and it would show up to 100% of your friends' feed and Facebook. If you shared the Hunter Biden story, it may go to 1. No, nobody could see it.
Right.
Yeah.
But you're over here like, oh, I shared it. I'm doing my patriotic duty to share this article.
And why did nobody like it?
Yeah.
Because nobody saw it.
Because nobody saw it.
And by the way, if you're getting your news from Facebook shares from your friends, you're already gone. It's too late.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was kind of funny because I was watching, Russell Brand actually talk about that FBI deal, and he's like, is it just a plot to prevent Trump from running in 2024? And then he kind of gave his little at the end, and then he goes into talking about it and literally spells it out. Hey, we're going to suppress this. Hey, run this, get this out there. Don't put this out there. And he's actually slamming them for interfering in the election. And he's admittedly not a Trump supporter, but he's like, what they're doing is absolutely wrong. And so, and it kind of came back to, and that's where I kind of closed it out, was we have to come together and stop listening and watching the political theater that they're putting on, because that's not how day-to-day life is. And get things back, start getting involved with your school boards, like you have, Chet. Get involved with the school boards, let them know that behavior during the coronavirus isn't acceptable and that you're not going to accept that. And if that needs to be changed, get those people changed out with people who you trust, who can actually do that job and do it with some common sense. And get to know your local, your city commission, your city council, your county commissions, your mayors. Get to know these people, because those are the ones who are going to directly be able to affect you the most and influence those spots, just like we've done in Reno County. Now, of course, that was more involved with wind turbines and industrial wind energy, but I mean, we got people voted out. We got people put in place that aligned more with the county's views rather than a multi-billion multinational corporation coming in and saying, hey, oh, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. And you got people that buy it. They don't do their research. They just take it at face value because it aligns more with their agenda than it does actually with the people in the county. And so we replaced those people with people that aligned more with our views and agreed with us. And then, fortunately we were able to get, wind energy banned in our portion of the county. And now they've got an overlay for the rest of the county and zoning to make sure that everything goes properly. And that's how it starts. And it's going to be slow. It's not an overnight, it's definitely not going to be an overnight process at all.
It's not, we're not going to win, for lack of a better word,
No.
unless people are doing what you ask them to do right now.
Right. And
because it's not a popularity contest. There's not one person you're going to elect that's going to fix it. It's going to take some hard work, and it's going to start from the local level.
And it's going to take a lot of people, and it's going to take everybody being involved, and stop with the name calling and trying to control another person just because you may have a different belief. We live in a society of tons of beliefs, and let's meet in the middle, try to form that more perfect union, and just get along with each other, because it's incredibly easy to do for the most part. I mean, there are some people out there just like, I can't deal with that person.
Yeah.
But there's somebody else that you know that thinks like you do that can deal with that person and enjoy having conversation with that person and stuff. So to me, it just comes down to being more involved locally with each other and then work from the ground up, because you're not going to fix it from the top
Nobody
down.
else is going to solve your problems.
No.
Whether there's a D or an R behind their name.
No, it's
Have
going
you
to
heard me
take
say that before?
quite a few times.
Yeah. You weren't listening.
Oh.
You've said it quite a few times.
Mm-hmm.
But it's one of those things that we have to do. But anyway, that's what's been on my mind.
All right. Well, I need a break.
Now we're going to talk
Definitely.
about things we can't stand.
Yeah.
I'm going to move right into foods I hate.
Are we going to do foods we hate or past political people in office?
No, let's
Stay with us, and
let's stick with the foods. At Admiral's Pennant, our mission is to offer the latest and refined, high-quality masculine products and services to the modern gentleman, as well as provide him with the tools and products necessary to look, act, and feel confident in his appearance and social interactions. Check it out at admiralspennant.com. Without it, you might as well shave.
I do need to apologize for the crunching earlier. I was just informed on our break that I crunched in the microphone. I was just trying to get a rise out of Matt.
To all of our fans afflicted with misophonia,
Yeah, we apologize.
we apologize.
All right,
If
so
they're
we're going to
still
get
here, they probably
Yeah, they
signed
probably
out.
they're
tuned.
gone.
They probably tuned out.
Yeah.
Or they might. Next time, if you hear crunching, just hit the little 30-second skip button.
Oh, okay.
Go right through it.
You want to test them? No, I'm kidding.
No. All right. So top
I
three
feel like
foods.
some of my best material, though, was right when you were crunching. Like I was really building up, and then you just, they're gone. Now they lost it.
Oh, well,
He was
And-
about to announce his run for the presidency.
they enjoyed Chet yelling at you, I'm sure. All right. Top three foods you can't stand. We're going to start with Chet. What you got?
Number 3, mushrooms.
Figured.
Yep.
I mean, I think I called that at the beginning.
You called that earlier. Yeah.
Can't stand them. Number 1, olives.
Olives.
Worse than mushrooms.
Called that one.
I know number 2.
Number 2. What is it?
Tomatoes.
Nope.
Oh, really?
No, I'll even eat a tomato every now and then to see if it's good. So you can have a good tomato every now and then. Skim milk.
Ah.
I don't even know why it exists. Like, why?
It's a little watery.
Little.
It's a little
2%
watery.
is a little watery. Skim milk is murky water. It's
yeah,
gross.
Like, why is it even made?
Like, I don't know if I
What's
could
it
drink
used
it.
for?
I don't even know if I could drink it. If you put a glass of skim milk in front of me right now, I don't know. I probably would gag trying to
I
drink
think
it.
I could do it in a bowl of cereal,
No.
but that's like worst case.
Yeah.
Cereal milk's got to be like thick.
Yeah. Vitamin D should be the only milk out there ever. Like, that's how it should be.
I would
Braum.
agree. And I don't even-
Brahms vitamin D is awesome.
I don't even like milk, but
Anyway,
I don't hate it. I can stand it, so it's not on my list.
I've got an honorable mention.
All right, hold those.
Let's
go
not forget.
next.
Let's not forget.
All right. My number 3, since I really like a lot of things, I couldn't really come up with 3 that I couldn't stand. So my number 3 is just bland food, period. Just anything bland, made without seasoning, without any spices. Dude, get that out of my face.
Just a piece of boiled chicken set on your plate.
Yeah, get that out of here.
You said boiled chicken?
Boiled chicken.
Where you from, boy? Hey, boy.
Boy,
That's a boiled chicken.
boiled chicken.
Number 2,
That's a country boy right there.
cucumbers.
I used to be there with you until recently.
Really?
I can tolerate them, but I don't really like them.
Your sister doesn't like them either.
Oh,
At all.
thought of number 3.
Does she
I
like
just
pickled
thought
cucumbers?
of number 3.
Coconut?
No. Celery.
Celery? That's a better than
I
bland
hate
food.
celery.
She's in the same boat.
I don't like it
you-
crunchy. I don't like it.
You don't like it in your gumbo?
I think that's the way you were both raised right now, because
Probably. I'll eat it in gumbo just because I love gumbo so much.
What about ants on a log?
yes.
It's on a log.
Oh man, that's celery, and then you put
Peanut
peanut butter
butter
down the channel
With raisins?
and you put raisins on that.
No, disgusting.
Celery and peanut butter is fantastic.
I mean, I could probably muscle that down, but I'm not a fan of raisins either. Gosh, should have put that on my list. I don't like raisins either. Sorry.
You could stand them.
I don't eat them though.
Yeah,
I barely like grapes. Barely.
Dude, this guy, what did he say to start this off with? I like just about everything.
There's not too much I won't eat.
Yeah. Cucumbers and celery.
What about cucumbers and water? Is it the flavor? Is it a texture?
It's the flavor. I'm just not a fan of it.
See, I really didn't like cucumbers by themselves until I had like cucumber water instead of lemon. And I was like, wow, this is really good.
It's refreshing.
Cucumber water's not bad.
And then I was like, I got that flavor, and then I started eating cucumbers. Like, oh, these aren't bad. I actually kind of like them now.
I love pickles though.
You like pickled cucumbers?
Yeah, that's what a pickle is.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about that a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
All right, number 1, black licorice is disgusting. Get it out of here.
I used to only like that in a liquor.
Yeah, I don't like it.
What liquor does it go into?
Jägermeister is kind of a black licorice flavor.
Nobody likes a Jägermeister.
Oh, I used to.
You just say you do because you want to get drunk.
Because it had a deer on the bottle.
That's the reason. Tastes like deer urine.
It does, yeah.
I've never had it. Deer urine.
I've had tons of it in my life, and yeah.
Deer urine?
No, Jägermeister.
Oh.
And it's not. Yeah.
Jaeger bombs.
Jaeger bombs. Yeah, Red Bull and Jägermeister. That's.
How long has Red Bull been around? I don't remember it when I was younger.
It gives you wings.
Yeah.
Probably high school, so late 90s.
I don't know.
I'm going to guess. Let's guess. He's looking it up. What year you think? I'm going to say. Actually, I'm going to say. I'm going to say 2002.
I was going to say 2001. 2000.
Right around
Actually,
there.
I'm going to go 99. 99.
Trying to think because I worked for Budweiser in like 2005 or 6.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, it goes way back? How far? Suspense is killing
The
me.
original Red Bull drink was developed in 1962.
Oh, no, sir. When did it become mainstream? Because
When did they go commercial? Because it's probably illegal.
So that was the drink of the Red Bull. So the company Red Bull was founded in 1987.
wow. Had no idea. I was 8 years old.
I was 7. Chet was
48.
40.
Hey. Yeah. All right, Matt, what are your top three?
Red Bull had sponsorship in Formula One cars in 1995.
Don't believe it. It's fake news.
95, I can believe it.
The first Red Bull Flugtag, where they
Watch your
Fly the
language.
planes? Is that where they fly the planes? Or?
yeah, that was in 1992. Red Bull, the first ever Red Bull event, was athletes running against mountains. A mountain run, 1988.
This episode
Dude.
sponsored by Red Bull. Get your Red Bull at your local QT.
All right.
We were smarter back then. We didn't.
Hey, real quick, QT versus Quick Shop. Where are you going?
Quick shop.
What?
I used to be Quick Shop until Dylan's.
Till Dylan
This is
sold
so-
it?
yeah.
Yeah. Dude, every time somebody sells something, it goes to crap.
Yep.
Hell in a handbasket right away.
Regal from
Disney.
the Warren. Disney.
Or, sorry, Lucasfilm.
Yeah.
Crap.
So the Warren's no longer any good?
Oh,
Dude,
it's trash,
it's
dude.
bad.
Is it?
Even the parking lot sucks.
I thought I was going.
They
I
haven't passed
thought,
a pothole since they signed the papers on that thing.
I thought I walked through a wormhole and was in the old Bossier Theater.
It's bad.
It's horrible.
Everything. Like the
So we don't even have a good theater left in Wichita.
no. Don't say the AMC. The AMC sucks.
The AMC does suck.
You're comparing it to the sucky Regal, and it's like, oh, it's better than the sucky Regal. Well, it still sucks.
Yeah.
Man, because the
The
Warren,
one thing I like about the AMC is the seats and the small theaters. So there's not a lot of people in there. Still a big screen. It's nice. But the food sucks. I think I've already harped on the Coke dispenser. Good
Yeah.
gracious, this thing's got to go.
because I was looking forward, I mean, that used to be the place to go when the Warren first opened. I mean, it was nice.
It was nice up until Bill Warren sold it.
Food was great.
Yeah, you
Popcorn.
always knew when he was there because he was
Like
wearing his
the-
glove. They were all wearing their white gloves. Right?
Popcorn was bad. Like they went their Bill Warren popcorn was awesome. And then like Regal moved right in there and sucked right away.
Yeah.
Like before the place got dirty.
Man,
And they took away all this like seasoning stuff you could sprinkle on the good Bill Warren popcorn.
Man, I'm glad I didn't go because I finally watched Top Gun Maverick. And I was like, man, this would have been so awesome to actually watch in the theater. And I thought about going and watching it in the theater, but that violates my going out in public with people. But now I'm glad I didn't waste my time.
You need to go to a matinee at the AMC. It's not that bad.
All right. Where were we?
My top three.
Matt's top three.
Just in case it's food you can't stand, just in case our audience forgot what we were talking about. Number 3, and this might surprise some people, mule deer. I do not like mule deer.
Mule deer that's eating sage.
Yeah, I have not had a good mule deer.
I don't know if I've ever had mule deer.
I've had a couple, and I have no reason to hunt them because I will not eat them.
They taste different than a whitetail, I'm guessing.
This is based on what they eat.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And most of the places that they're going to eat, that's where they're eating sage, unless you're Western Kansas and they had a good year.
Yeah.
But I had the mule deer that I had, we brought it home and I, processed it and packaged it up. And I knew 100% when my wife would cook with it. I could smell it. It smelled different. And when I ate it, it just left this taste that I told her. She was like, well, I don't mind it. I think it's fine. And I was like, well, you can fix this when I'm gone. And then you can get through all of that when I'm gone. And then
you will not feed this to me.
When I'm home, we can eat the good stuff, but I did not like it. Number 2, water chestnuts. Cannot stand them.
What if they're roasting on an open fire?
No, not even then. Not even then. And I can't stand the flavor. You don't
like the texture either, the crunch.
I don't like the texture. But it goes back to what I talked about, I think it was last week, where, I was talking about, what was that, Burple or whatever it was that just, I had it and then it just gave me a headache. Water chestnuts is one of those that it's a flavor that just gives me a headache. And I don't know why.
You got to be careful when you order Chinese food then, right?
Yeah, I can find them and pick them out.
Yeah.
And then
that is one good thing about water chestnuts. If they touch something else,
they don't leave a residue like olives.
Like olives do.
Yeah. I mean, if a water chestnut did that, I would not. I would feel the way that you do about ordering a pizza with olives.
Yeah. Then I'm going to order.
And then you would order stuff with water chestnuts.
I'm going to order pizza with water chestnuts on it just for you, man.
Good luck finding that. And number 1 is any meat or salad that's got fruit on it.
Any meat with fruit on it?
So if you've got
have you never had like a fresh, ice cold lettuce, strawberry summer salad?
Absolutely not. Gross.
Oh, those are delicious.
No.
Dude.
Fruits and vegetables go
Southern
separate. Thing. Meat and fruit.
It's good though.
Goes separate. So if you've got if you've got like a pork loin with some type of, I don't know even what it's called. I forget the name of whatever jelly or sauce that they put over the top that's made of
cranberry. What about cranberry sauce over turkey?
No.
Man, you're messed up in the head.
No. I can't do it. I can't.
What about fruit salad?
If it's all fruit, then that's fine.
Throw some pepperoni in there with it.
No.
Throw some mule deer in there with it.
So
a little hint of sage.
And I've had this, and I know that there are people like me out there that just don't like that mix of things. They don't like sweet on their salad. They don't like sweet on their meat. And I'm the same way. I don't like any of that stuff. I don't like a sweet barbecue sauce or anything that's sweet that goes with meat. It should be salty. That's kind of my.
What about that? What about hot fruit?
What?
Like a hot fruit, like a fruit that's been cooked. There's those hot pears with pecans and mayonnaise.
I'm not a big hot fruit fan, so
I like it in cobbler.
I don't like apple pie. I don't like any. I just don't like that kind of stuff. The only one that I would do like that would be pumpkin pie.
What about pineapple on your pizza?
Oh, absolutely not. That's gross. That violates everything. I mean, that would have been my number one, but that would have been the only thing. So I had to do the all encompassing. But there are people like me out there. Trust me. There's more of us.
Oh, there's a movement against pineapple on pizza. I just don't get it.
No, but not fruit on a salad.
Yeah, not fruit on a salad. Fruit and meat together. I think you have an argument there on something.
Good. I want fruit and meat.
I mean, I'm fine with it either way.
See, I don't even like a Waldorf salad that's got the apples and the raisins or craisins on it. Nope.
My whole deal is if it's cold, it's good.
No.
Yeah, if it's all cold, for sure.
Can't.
Especially with candied pistachios.
Isn't tomato a fruit?
Yes.
So you don't want tomatoes in your salad?
I typically don't. No.
You don't want marinara sauce in your spaghetti?
See, I can do the marinara sauce.
Okay, so a form of tomato.
Yeah, processed. But yeah, I don't know what it is. It grosses me out.
Oh, all right.
Okay, that's
I will say
honorable mentions. Yes, sorry.
I did put up with one. I was eating it at a buddy's house, and he made these beautiful steaks. I mean, just tenderloin, just perfect, wrapped with bacon, cooked to perfection. And his family served a salad. And I was like, oh, this is a nice salad here in California. And, it's got tomatoes. Tomatoes I'm a little bit more lenient with. But I'm eating the salad, and I get, I'm like, I'll put a big piece of tomato on this, and got the lettuce and got the dressing, which was and I don't even like the fruity dressings at all. It's got to be ranch or Caesar or Italian, something like that. So I take a big bite.
Russian, French,
all the
country
French dressing.
All the country dressings.
That's a little too sweet, but got that tomato on there and got that piece of lettuce and stuck it in my mouth. Watermelon, not tomatoes.
Busted.
I'm not for that.
I
nearly
was like,
puked.
this is watermelon, huh? Yeah, okay. And politely ate it, but it's not, oh my goodness, not my thing at all.
Watermelon doesn't compliment much.
Oh, that's good. All right. Good top threes, sort of. Chet.
Good word. All your heart, day 37. It comes out of Matthew 22. And this is getting into when they were trying to test Jesus into saying, what's the greatest commandment? And his response was, love the Lord with all your heart. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. And up until this point, you could say that Jesus wasn't necessarily hated. That people were like, there's some people that, especially from his hometown, that, they tried to push him off a cliff at one point. But on his ministry, they're just like, yeah, whatever. He's another guy. There's some miracles. There have been miracles, whatever. But when they're trying to probe and see if he's a threat or not, and they're like, okay, give us the, what's the greatest command? We're going to kind of trap him here. And he's like, it's love the Lord God with all your heart and all your soul and all your mind. Then love your neighbor as yourself is the second greatest commandment, right? Is what they said. But they clearly drew a line, because up until this point, it's like, do whatever you want to do for status. For, if you look at the Pharisees, right? I want to be proud of how I pray, and I'm going to, make a big deal about it because I'm pointing towards myself, which selfishness. They love themselves very, very much so. And all of a sudden he's like, well, the greatest commandment is that you don't love yourself like you do. Your greatest commandment is that you love God with everything that you've got, which means all of your focus on why you do this religion in the first place to elevate yourself is the wrong way to go. We want everything from that. So the other thing about this is it really encompassed the law. So it kind of gets rid of all the different little rules that they had. Well, you can't work on the Sabbath day. What does that mean? Well, you can't walk more than this far, and you can't lift more than this much weight, and you can't help your neighbor if it's this, and if your ox gets in a ditch, then that. And
can't spit on the ground. It's
They had
Tilling.
all these law, and they're like, okay, which is the greatest commandment? And he's like, this is it. Love me with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind. And love everybody else too. Like all of a sudden, they were like, okay, this teaching has to stop. Like, we're not good with this anymore because it's pointing out their control, right? If I have all the rules, if I make the list of the rules to tell people what's right and what's wrong, I lose control of that. Number two, it's also pointing to me loving myself is not in there. It's not one of the commandments, not the greatest commandment at all, wasn't mentioned, but loving your neighbor was, which they also weren't too fond of at that time. So, all your heart, everything you've got, not just enough to satisfy the rules or to make yourself look good in front of everybody else. And to the point that if it's less than that, then you're falling short. It's like, oh, I tried real hard, but I just couldn't love him. Oh, no participation trophy here. Give it all your heart to him. That's the greatest commandment. Matthew 22, verse 37.
Yep.
And imagine that those two would fix everything I talked about.
Yep.
So easy, yet so hard.
We wouldn't need a government at all.
We wouldn't.
Thanks for listening to the Hardheaded Podcast. Don't forget to share this podcast with others to help us get the word out.
Also, if you haven't yet, please rate and review the show. This helps our podcast show up in other people's suggested shows that may or may not have listened to us before.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.